From South Carolina Public Radio, this is Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray, and I'm forecasting fun today as we play games all about weather, pop culture, and history.
Can I call you Weatherman Bran?
Please.
I love that. Coming up later this hour, from the perfect storm to the day after tomorrow, we'll see how well you remember famous weather-related disaster movies. We'll also hear 3 stories about the impact Mother Nature has had on important battles throughout history, but only 2 of those tales are true. Can you guess which one we made up?
Hey, if you want to join us, we would love to have you. All you got to do is call or text us, 803-470-6347. One more time. Are you ready for it? 803-470-6347. Or you can send us an email to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org. You will have a chance to become the Who What When Chamber of the Week, but all that pales in comparison to your chance to win the trophy of Who What When, which is the Who What When Fanny Pack.
And it's a weather episode,
It is.
Brand. So that fanny pack could hold some sunscreen, sunglasses, a little mini umbrella.
Well, it'd have to be pretty small, but I like what you're thinking.
It's great for all kinds of weather. How about that weather, Brand?
I love weather.
Yeah.
I love the sun. I love the rain. I love the wind. I love the hot. I love the cold.
I think you got it all, yeah.
To be perfectly transparent with you, Dan, we don't know when or where you're listening to this, but this is what I want to say here. I hope that you're having a wonderfully sunny and or cold and or rainy and or sunny day.
We covered them all. Sorry, this is a recorded show. We don't know how everything looks outside
I tried to
today
do my best.
in your neck of the woods.
They'll fix it in post.
File missing.
But we can say that the weather, of course, has had a major impact on all our lives, especially when we're talking about severe weather.
That's right. Just here in South Carolina over the past year, we've had highs in the upper 90s in the summer. We've had some snow and below freezing temperatures in the winter. We had a destructive hurricane. We've had tornadoes and even a little earth rumble, a little earthquake, Dano.
It's wild out there, Bran. What's your favorite kind of weather?
Listen, I grew up in Florida, and hurricanes, they sure are destructive, but there are just some amazing, memorable moments with me and my family riding out, hunkering down. Hurricane Charlie, Hurricane Jean, Hurricane Francis. So I do have a soft spot for the destruction of a hurricane.
What a weird answer. I'm going with snow, Brandon.
Okay, good answer.
I'm from South Carolina. Snow's a very special treat here.
I love the snow.
I lived in Columbia for a long time. I lived in Greenville a long time. Doesn't happen often. There's nothing like the quiet of snow.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have asked you many times if you want to build a snowman, and you always say no.
Yeah. You hog the base.
I'm not trying to hog it. I'm trying to be helpful.
You're a base hogger.
I'm not a base hogger.
You're a base
That's
hogger.
not true. You would know that if you actually came outside and built. I'm a good sharer.
We can talk about you base hogging later. Right now, we probably need to get to our games.
I guess. We have 2 contestants on the line right now who are going to be playing with us. Caller number 1, what's your name and where are you from?
Hey, I'm Erin from Columbia, South Carolina.
From Columbia, South Carolina.
Wow. Erin, what's your favorite type of weather?
Oh, I'd have to say sunny and 75.
Wow, sunny with a high of 75.
Yeah.
I like
sunny
that.
with a high of 75. I'm a snow guy myself.
I really do like the snow. It's just, we get it. It's so rare here that when you get a little, I'm
6'5". I'm a big dude. It's too hot. It gets too hot too quick for me. I want the cold weather.
I want the cold as well, personally. But I understand.
Welcome, Erin. We're glad to have you. Caller number 2 is who you'll be playing against. Caller number 2, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hello, my name is Brandon. I'm calling from New Garden Township, Pennsylvania.
Whoa. First of all
the townships.
Get my name out of your mouth. But second of all,
in all the world.
It's always exciting when we find out that people are listening to the show outside of South Carolina. It's
right?
good to know that online listen live link is working, or the podcast feed, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
Brandon, what's your favorite type of weather?
I'm like Dan. I'm a blizzard boy.
Blizzard boy.
Blizzard Brand.
Blizzard boy. He's a blizzard boy. And I will say it's a good point, Brand, which is if you're listening right now and you think, I can't call, I'm not from South Carolina, I think our callers beg to differ. They're from all over the place. We've had a caller from Canada.
Yes.
I mean, you can do it. You can play here on Who What When, even if you're not from the Great
It's just
Palmetto
always
State.
amazing to remember how phones work.
That's right.
And that
they can cross state lines.
Cross state lines. They
crazy.
figured that out not too long ago.
All right, we've got Erin and Brandon here. Let's get started with our first game, which we're calling Who What Rain. This is all about famous songs, mostly pop hits, that are weather-related and that they have either the word rain or the word sun in their title.
Okay.
Erin and Brandon will give you some clues about the songs, and you'll have to name these tunes.
Now, I got to be honest with you, I did record a little tune of my own for this game. Let's cue that title song for Who What Rain. Who
Man, that's pretty good. I guess at this point, there's nothing left to do but to play the game.
Let's do it.
Aaron, you ready for your first question here on Who, What, Rain?
We're ready.
All right. Released in 1971 from the Creedence Clearwater Revival album entitled Pendulum,
Wow.
John Fogerty really wants to know, on a sunny day, if A, have you ever seen the rain? B, have you ever been sunburned? C, have you ever walked alone?
Have you ever seen the rain?
Wow.
Have you ever seen the rain is correct. I thought for sure it was going to be, have you ever been sunburned?
I mean, I think we all have.
Yeah.
I think we all.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
my
sunburned.
favorite.
Yeah.
I love that Erin heard CCR and she says, "I know."
Yeah.
I know. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen the rain? Big CCR
Well, you know,
fan.
there's 2 CCR rain songs, so
That's
it could have
true.
gone either way.
Ooh, that's right. Rain, rain on my face.
I think that's Jars of Clay.
Jars of Clay Flood. You got it. Here we go. Brandon, it's your turn.
What?
We're playing a little game
Oh,
called
I
Who,
forgot.
What?
My bad, Brandon.
You're not on a delay now.
No.
Like you're in the studio
I
now.
forgot that there
Yeah.
was another. My bad.
Yeah. We're playing a little game called Who, What, Rain?
Who, what, rain?
Here on South Carolina Public Radio. Brandon, your question. Originally written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David for the film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, this Oscar-winning song was also a #1 hit for singer B.J. Thomas in 1970.
Jay.
Is that A, Lonely Teardrops, B, November Rain, or C, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head?
Ooh, I feel like I have to know. It's got to be Raindrops Falling on My Head. That just hits right. That's the one I think it is.
It hits right. That's the one he thinks it is. And he is correct. It does hit right. He's tied the game.
Are those
1-1.
other two titles even real
There
songs?
are both real songs.
Wow.
Yes.
Lonely Teardrops.
Yeah, that's a Jackie Wilson song.
They're lonely.
Yes. Aaron, it's a tie game here on Who, What, Rain. The board is yours. Your next question
forgot
starts
about the
right
title.
now. The third #1 single from her album 21, Adele is distraught over a conflicting relationship, causing her to do this seeming contradiction, wherein we find the song's title. Is it A, Rain on Your Wedding Day, B, Start a Fire in the Summer, or C, Set Fire to the Rain?
Okay, so answer C, Set Fire to the Rain.
Yeah. Aaron's here to play. You can tell. She means business.
No.
She's here to play. She knows her stuff. She knows her Adele. She knows her CCR. That's correct.
You need to have a well-rounded knowledge
That's right.
when you come into Who, What, When, because you never know.
Yeah, Rain on Your Wedding Day, a line from Alanis Morissette song.
Okay.
But, not the same thing,
Love her.
obviously. All right, it's 2-1. We got an early perfect game alert. Early perfect game alert.
Early.
Early.
We don't want to.
Yeah, we don't
Brandon,
want to.
we can do it.
We can. Oh, right. Oh,
do it.
wow.
We can do it.
Look at Aaron encouraging
Hey, I
her
don't need.
opponent.
Listen, I don't.
There's
want to be
only
funny,
one
but
fanny
there's only.
pack.
That's exactly right.
Don't
you
do
guys
this
can't
thing
share it.
where you're going to act like don't ask for co-custody of this fanny pack. Don't ask for 2 fanny packs. There's 1 fanny pack.
It's in the contract. You signed it.
Just making sure. Brandon, it's your turn. Are you ready for your question?
Ready.
Ready.
Sorry, I keep forgetting.
Many believe this next song to be a one-hit wonder for the band Katrina and the Waves, but 8 albums and other hits like That's the Way and Do You Want Crying beg to differ. But no song could possibly be as happy, peppy, or downright bright as their 1983 hit. A, Dancing in the Rain, B, Walking on Sunshine, or C, the Summertime Two-Step.
I'm going to say the Summertime Two-Step is not a real song.
Interesting.
That was a weave.
I'm going to go with B, Hesitantly.
He's going to go with B, Hesitantly, and he is going to hesitantly be right.
Wow, I don't know if that makes sense, but Walking on Sunshine, what a happy song. It's so much fun. It makes
It
you do
does.
the Summertime Two-Step.
The Summertime Two-Step was too pure for mass audiences.
It was.
That was
It was.
that was an indie hit.
It was.
And you can still do the dance to this day.
I can still. I don't
My
want
knee
to.
isn't what it used to be, but you can still
After what happened in the summer of, I think it was
Two-Step.
23.
Yeah, yeah.
2 summers ago.
2 summers ago.
It was crazy.
Crazy. That's right. All right, Aaron, it's tied 2-2. It's Who What Wins, South Carolina Public Radio's Hour of History, Games, and Trivia. Your next question to see if you can take the lead. Written and recorded by George Harrison for the Beatles album Abbey Road, this song was never actually released as a single, but that didn't stop it from becoming one of the Beatles' most memorable tracks. Is it A, Here Comes the Rain, B, Here Comes the Sun, or C, Here Comes the Wind?
Well, so George Harrison's my favorite Beatle,
Wow.
and definitely, I know. So Here Comes the Sun. I'm all for it.
Here Comes the Sun is correct.
Aaron with the
Did we
hot take.
accidentally ask Aaron's 3 favorite bands? Like, like this is wild.
Can you imagine a tour of
Here comes
CCR,
the
Adele,
wind.
and
Ba-na-na-na-na.
George Harrison's Beatles? Man, what a tour.
All right, Aaron, you're 3 for 3. Let's see if Brandon can match you. You ready, Brand?
Ready.
Their group was called the Weather Girls, so it's no surprise they have a few tracks about the weather, including this 1982 hit that sounds great as a metaphor, but logistically might kill you. Is it A, It's Raining Men, B, It's Raining Tacos, or C, It's Raining Heartbreak?
Would love it for it to be B, but I know it is A. It is Raining Men.
He knows it's A, It's Raining Men, and he's correct. Shout out, though, to Perry Grip and It's Raining Tacos.
Shout out.
If you got-
Perry Grip.
If you got kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about right now. It's Raining Tacos.
What a track.
It's 3-3 here in our first game, Bran. We're talking about the weather in a little game we like to call That's exactly right here on Who What When. Aaron, the board is yours. Your next question. Nothing like one of the most revered classic films of all time, featuring one of the most famous musical numbers, with Gene Kelly reminding everyone that if you're content and happy, then who minds a little precipitation? Is that A, Dancing in the Rain, B, Stepping in the Rain, or C, Singing in the Rain?
Ooh, this one's tricky. I'm going to do singing.
She's gonna do Singing in the Rain. It's probably her favorite.
Yeah, I
movie
feel
or
like
favorite-
Aaron was just trying to be nice there.
Yeah. Probably your favorite movie musical. All right, Aaron, you got another one right.
Wow.
I will say this: Brandon could be as confident, and he might be just throwing us off the scent.
He might be.
That's right. Who knows?
Might be.
Here we go, Brandon. A chance to tie the game here in our first weather-related game here on Who What When. Before creating quite possibly the most quotable song of the 2000s with 1999's All-Star, Smash Mouth had another smash hit in 1997, and it was a ska-influenced social activist battle cry describing what we might as well do if we can't figure out how to treat everyone with respect. Is it A, Freezing in the Snow, B, Walking on the Sun, or C, Drowning in the Rain?
Smash Mouth is a band I've not heard about in like I feel
Fair.
like 20 years. I believe it is Walking on the Sun.
Walking on the Sun, Brandon is correct.
How about that? And I got to be honest, Dan, I'm proud of you for getting through ska-influenced social activist battle cry without fully just letting yourself go in
That's right.
excitement. Because
Yeah.
I know all of those words are big
Man,
for you.
dude. Are you kidding me? It's like put it right in my veins.
I know.
Gosh. And I did say our producer was questioning if that song was ska. Ska influenced. So it isn't a traditional ska band, but the influence is very clearly there. It was originally a rap song, and they actually included some of this influence to make it more poppy.
You think that was that
Yeah.
a second wave?
So
or
it'd
a
probably
third-
be third wave.
more
If you were
third
going to
wave?
put it in a wave, it would be third wave.
you would-
But we don't have to assign waves right now.
No.
We can wait. We can wait. It's all tied up here on Who What Rain.
A perfect game is
Perfect
continuing.
game intact, and I got to be honest, I might bet my house that Aaron gets this next one right, but that's just me. Aaron, don't let me down. I need a place to live, and so does my family. Here you go. Here's your question.
Got dark.
Prince and his backing band, The Revolution, crafted this masterpiece in 1984, released in an album with the same title, but it became cemented in rock legacy when he performed it for hundreds of millions of people in 2007 at the Super Bowl in an actual downpour. Is it A, Gray Skies, B, Purple Rain, C, Orange Haze?
Y'all got to shout out my friend Amy Swanson. She's the biggest Prince fan I know, and so I know it's Purple Rain.
Amy Swanson showed
We
up.
love the Swans.
Oh,
Shout out.
so big swan heads around here. Purple Rain is correct. No, we love a shout out.
What
We
an
love a shout out.
amazing
Which brother do you want to
performance.
shout out today?
I'll shout out my brother Jesse. Actually,
Jesse.
Shout out.
Yes.
All right, Jesse. There you go.
I love that performance, that Super Bowl performance, not just because it's iconic visually. What a guitar! What a guitar!
What a
he
guitar.
has. Prince only knows how to do things one way, and it's all the way, and that's
right.
why we loved Prince.
I love it. All right, Brandon, there's no pressure here. We've asked 9 questions. We've gotten 9 correct answers. The last question of the first round is yours to keep a tie game, to keep the perfect game alive. Brandon, your last question of the first round. This song was a bona fide hit for Bill Withers in 1971 and has stood the test of time as a classic breakup song, even regaining popularity in 1999 when it was used in the rom-com classic Notting Hill and re-entering the top 40 in 2009 when Chris Allen covered it on the 8th season of American Idol. Is it A, I've Seen Fire and I've Seen Rain? Is it B, Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone? Or is it C, Rain, Rain, Go Away?
I've Seen Fire and I've Seen Rain is a James Taylor hit. So we're going to cross that one off. It is Bill Withers' classic, Ain't No Sunshine.
The Bill Withers classic, Ain't No Sunshine. That is correct.
I would love it for Brandon to be like, I don't know Bill Withers, but I do remember Chris Allen singing that song on season 8 of American Idol. I think we all do.
This is Who What When. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. It's our weather episode today, and our contestants Aaron and Brandon are off to a great start, and we have a tied game.
That's right, Brand. Coming up after this break, we'll see how well they know their weather disaster movies. That's next here on Who What When. Welcome back to Who What When, South Carolina Public Radio's hour of history, games, and trivia. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. I'm Brandon Gray.
Brand, hold on one second. It's Weather Week on the show.
Yes.
And hey, Brand, where are you?
I'm out on the field, Dan.
So, okay, thank you, Brand, for being out in the... Okay, I can tell there's weather.
It's tough out here.
So as I was saying, this week we're playing games about weather and pop culture.
Yeah, and before we get back to those games, we want to remind you that you can join us for a future episode. Do you still hear me?
I can still hear you,
all you
Brand.
gotta do is call
You
or
don't have
text.
to. You don't have to yell.
All you gotta do is call or text 803-470-6347. You can send us an email, whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org. That's a tree. It just went by. I'm okay. You might get a chance to take home the title of Who Won Champion of the Week and a special prize Who Won Faded Pack. I'm going to come back in the studio now.
Please do. That is piercing, sir. We've got our contestants, Brandon from Pennsylvania and Aaron from South Carolina, vying for that sweet, sweet fanny pack today. And we are talking about the weather today. Heat, rain, wind, sleet, snow.
All of those things. Hey, I'm back. All of those things.
You're still yelling like you're outside.
Sorry. All of those things. Postal service workers, they're going to work through that.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
They're
right?
incredible.
That's the whole thing. And sometimes those folks work in extreme weather, but maybe not as extreme as the weather phenomena we're going to touch on in this next game, which is all about disaster movies. It's a little game we're calling Wetter Off Dead.
Nice. Brandon and Aaron, in this game, Dana's going to read you some clues describing the weather events in a disaster movie, and you'll have to tell us which movie we're talking about.
Sound like a plan, Brandon?
I love this.
So here's what we got. We got Brandon with 5. We got Aaron with 5. Aaron has the board. Aaron, are you ready for your first question of the second segment?
All set.
In 1996, Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt chased these storms all through the Midwest part of the country with a blockbuster sequel starring Glenn Powell coming out this year. Is that A, hurricanes, B, tornadoes, or C, monsoons?
Okay, so maybe it's Twister. So you want tornadoes?
Tornadoes is what we want there. Yes, Twister.
Okay, cool.
Yes, Glenn
right.
Powell. How about that guy?
How about that guy, indeed? Aaron, the perfect game continues for you. It's unbelievable. Okay, Brandon, your next question. To stay in lockstep with Aaron. Your first question here on Wetter Off Dead. Didn't have a full singing for that one. Your question. In 1997, not one, but 2 movies were released into theaters that centered around this most destructive weather phenomenon. One including Tommy Lee Jones trying to clear the streets of Los Angeles to save everyone from incoming magma. Was that A, a wildfire, B, a cyclone, or C, a volcano?
You said magma, so I'm going with that's a hint, and I'm going to go with C, a volcano.
He's going to go with C, a volcano. He took the hint, he ran with it, and he's correct. He's playing the game, Bran.
Well, I don't know what's that movie?
The movie is called Volcano.
Oh, wow. Go.
Then there's a movie called Dante's
I
Peak
know
with
Dante's
Pierce Brosnan.
Peak, yes.
But yes, literally in the same year, Tommy Lee Jones and Pierce Brosnan fought volcanoes.
Yeah.
I mean, 1997 was a time to be alive. And that was the year after Mission Impossible Twister and Independence Day. I mean, us geriatric millennials, like, we lived large.
Yeah,
like,
we did.
nothing but blockbusters and dumb movies at the box office.
You
in the
love to
summer.
see it.
You love to see it. And we also love to see a perfect game, which is what we got going on right now. We're playing a little game about weather phenomena in movies. Aaron, the board is yours. Here we go. In the 2015 thriller San Andreas, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars as a search and rescue copter pilot thrown into an active rescue mission because of what natural disaster? Is it A, earthquake, B, hurricane, C, tornado?
Okay, y'all. So The Rock is my mom's favorite, so I know it's earthquake.
Shout out to Aaron's mom.
Shout out.
She is like I am
I
here to
love
shout
that.
out. I expect a shout out on every answer
right.
now, Aaron.
I'll do what I can.
So
She went with earthquake.
she went with earthquake. Earthquake is correct.
And I believe, is that the movie where The Rock is missing a leg?
No, that's
No.
skyscraper.
So stupid.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
I
and
apologize.
the one where he fights the gorillas Rampage. All those movies happen in like the same day, I
Man,
believe.
I
Close.
deeply
Yes.
apologize
Yeah.
to Aaron's mom
Yes.
for messing that one up. I'm sure she was
skyscraper
screaming.
fans everywhere.
She was screaming at the radio.
Exactly right. All right, Brandon, the perfect game falls back to you. Here we go. It's Who, What, When. It's South Carolina Public Radio. It's Wet or Off Dead. Something doesn't sound right about that.
It's good.
Here we go.
It's good.
On July 11th, 2013, the Sci-Fi Channel changed the game by combining the most feared creature of the ocean, the great white shark, with these storms for B-movie perfection that has been copied over and over for the past decade. Is it A, tornadoes, B, hurricanes, C, gales?
Ooh.
A
Gales
gale.
entered the
Love
chat.
a strong gale. Brandon, what do you think?
So I'm going to take a page out of Aaron's book. Shout out Ryan Budd, my friend, who was in this movie. It is Sharknado.
Oh, my God.
Tornado.
Ryan was in
Wow.
the movie.
He was a dead body number 2 or 3.
Oh, I know
Oh,
him.
just Dead Body number 2 or 3?
Phenomenal.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, hold on. Is it 2 or 3?
I don't remember, but he has he goes around the country, he does shows because he's an entertainer.
He does
sends out
not
signed
do
photos.
conventions
Signed
as
photos
Dead Body
of
number 2.
Sharknado. This
Oh
is
my-
amazing.
oh my
it's
gosh.
It's a tornado.
Shout out Sharknado.
Shout out.
Shout out Brandon's friend Ryan.
Shout out.
What a time to be alive. And also, what a time to have a perfect game,
You know
Brandon.
what? This is such a beautiful game we have going on here. Not just because it's perfect, but also because of the community that I feel
Yeah.
listening to this game.
Feels right.
Everyone's just shouting people
Yeah,
out.
feels right.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's unbelievable what they're doing here. They're just, everything's clicking. You know what I mean? They're in the pocket.
They're in the pocket.
All right, let's see if that continues. Aaron, the board is yours. Your next question. In Adam McKay's Don't Look Up, 2 astronomers try to warn the world that an approaching comet will destroy planet Earth, only to be dismissed and laughed at repeatedly. The film was a thinly veiled commentary on the political climate regarding what real weather phenomenon? Is it A, global warming, B, the greenhouse effect, or C, heat waves?
Okay, so I want to say climate change, but I guess I'll go global warming.
She's going to go global warming, and she's going to be correct.
Woo! How
Who do you,
about
do you
that?
have a friend? Shout out somebody who's a big
Climate change fan?
Honestly, yes, my best friend Grace MacArthur. Anywho.
My best friend
all about
Grace.
that.
Shout out Grace.
Shout out.
I will say this is going to be our most listened to episode once Erin finishes texting everyone after
You get a mention.
she's like, you get a mention?
mention.
You are all getting mentions. All right, it's 8-7. It's Who, What, When. We're talking about weather. We got Brandon and Aaron here. We're playing the heavy hitter games like Wet or Off Dead.
That's right.
And Brandon has the board. Brandon, your next question. In The Perfect Storm, George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg get caught at sea off the coast of Nova Scotia because of the sheer catastrophic combination of a hurricane and a tornado, B, tidal wave, C, water spout.
I'm going to not say it's a tornado because tornadoes and oceans unless it's Sharknado, doesn't seem to gel in my head right now. I'm gonna go with the tidal wave and hope the perfect game stays alive.
He's going to go with the tidal wave, and his hopes have become a reality because he's correct.
Amazing.
And I'm starting to sense a pattern. Aaron is like, I know this. Shout out to my girl Grace. And Brandon is like, I don't know any of these. I just happen to get all of them right.
Yes. Well, there's also Brandon's doing a great job of being like, I know it's not this
That's
one
right.
because of that. And then it just becomes 50-50
The old
at
process
that
of elimination. is
Really,
what he's
really
doing.
well done. Everybody is playing this game in their own way, and both ways are valid.
We are running out of questions here with a tie game. Whew. Let's see what happens here.
I don't envy your pants.
What?
Well, it's like a tough spot to be in. I don't envy your pants.
All right, if you say
Your
so.
shoes?
What? All right, I guess okay, sure. It's just a weird thing to say in a voice, like I don't envy your pants. That's weird. It's a weird thing to say.
Wasn't a voice at all.
It was. You were an I don't envy your pants like that. That's weird.
I don't.
Okay, here we go.
I don't envy the pants.
All right, we're playing Wet or Off Dead. Brandon doesn't
AT
envy your
gets it.
pants. He doesn't. He does not get it. Don't try to bring somebody in with you.
AT, you
Don't-
get it.
Don't try to be like Aaron
AT,
shouting out people.
AT, turn your mic
doesn't
on.
get it.
You
AT
get it.
does not. You do not get envying someone's pants.
AT,
I get the voice.
That's right.
Okay? I get the voice.
AT gets it.
All right, back to the game. There's 2 questions left. So, Aaron, if you get this right, you've assured yourself a tie, at least in regulation. We'll see what happens after that. Your last question here on Wet or Off Dead. 3 movies have carried the name of this spontaneously occurring weather phenomenon, including one in 1994 starring David Hasselhoff as a diamond thief trapped with a family in a Russian cabin surrounded by snow.
Oh, my God.
Is it A, thunder snow, B, monsoon, C, avalanche?
Ooh, let's see. So I'm a big fan of the show, so I know we like to talk it out.
Yeah.
And given the clues, I wasn't alive in '94, but I'm going to go with Avalanche.
Wow. She was not alive in 94. We're all old. Aaron is right.
Oh
She's
my gosh!
correct.
I got to be honest. I haven't seen or heard of this movie
So-
either, and I know what I'm doing
yeah.
tonight.
It's a TV movie. I mean, David Hasselhoff wasn't lead billing in a feature.
This sounds perfect.
right.
Sounds perfect.
This guy is out here, diamond thief, trapped with a family in a Russian. He kills his partner. You should read the whole.
How about I
if
watch
you
it?
read the thing, the whole plot, you're going to be like, where do I find this movie? And got to be honest, I don't know where you found it. Where you
find
find it? All right, here's the deal. Brandon has a perfect game so far, but somehow if he misses this, he doesn't move to the
Wow.
next round. What a time to be alive. Brandon, are you ready? I know the pressure's, it's tense right now, but are you ready for your last question?
I'm ready.
Yeah. What do you think the fanny pack's going to have on it? Like, weather related. What do you think?
One of the nice things that I included on this, and you guys can both look forward to this, is it is a combination of all of the major weather systems combined into one giant system. It's beautiful. It's something that personally, in real life, I would not like to come face to face with. I don't envy anyone's pants who comes to face with this bad boy. But it is a wonderful, wonderful fanny pack.
Man, lots to look forward to here. Only one of you is walking away with that fanny pack. Brandon, your last question here on Wet or Off Dead. In The Day After Tomorrow, climatologist Jack Hall, played by Dennis Quaid, warns of this possible weather phenomenon. And it turns out he's right, as it sets off natural disasters throughout the world. Is that an A, superstorm, B, megastorm, or C, gigantistorm?
They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's right. Super seems downright small.
I'm gonna go with a superstorm and try again. Hope the perfect game stays alive.
He's been guessing all day, and he's been correct all day. It is a super storm.
I love it, and I love that movie.
Yeah, you do.
Man, The Day After Tomorrow slaps.
It's a great movie. You're listening to Who, What, When. I'm Daniel Thompson here with my good buddy Brandon Gray.
Our contestants Brandon and Aaron are tied with a perfect game on this episode all about weather and pop culture.
We'll see which one of them comes out on top right after this break here on Who, What, When. Welcome back to Who, What, When, an hour of history, games, and trivia on South Carolina Public Radio. I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. We are chatting about the weather today. And before we get to our final game, a quick reminder that we would love for you to join us in a future episode. All you got to do is call or text us. That number is 803-470-6347. Or if you'd rather just send us an email, we'll take it however we can get it, Dano. Who, What, When at scpublicradio.org.
Our contestants, Aaron from South Carolina and Brandon from Pennsylvania, are tied with a perfect game as we head into our final segment. Now, normally we have one player in the last round, but today both of them have a shot at the title of Who, What, When Champion of the Week, bragging rights, and of course, most importantly, the Who, What, When Fanny Pack.
Whoop, whoop.
All they have to do is get through a game we like to play pretty often around here. It's called History or His Story, and today it's the Battling the Weather edition.
That's right, Brandon, Aaron. Here's how the game is going to work. Dan has 3 stories about the impact the weather has had on 3 famous battles from history. 2 of those stories, 100% true. 1 of those stories, 100% false. Dan made it up, a.k.a. it is his story. After you hear each story, you'll have a chance to ask questions, talk it through with me. I'm here to help you. I don't know the answer, and I'm also probably going to get it wrong. Once we get through all 3 stories, you will have to tell us which one is the lie, and that is history or his story.
All right, so we've got Aaron, we've got Brandon, we got 3 stories about weather. Are we ready to roll?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Ready.
Your first story is a hurricane and a tornado walk into a capital.
I know that one.
Of course you do, because it's all about the War of 1812, which you know very well.
My favorite.
It's a war between the U.S. and England. This is like the sequel to the Revolutionary War, not as long, not as good. The British were still upset about losing the Revolutionary War, and the United States begins to expand westward into the Northwest Territory, which is where Ohio, Indiana, Michigan are. They also begin to pirate us on the high seas using their far superior navy. The United States was divided on how to respond. Democratic Republicans, most of which were war hawks, versus the Federalists. The president, James Madison, opted to declare war against England, and the fighting commenced. While the U.S. was outmatched at sea, they made some advances in the Northwest Territory, and this was all for naught in August of 1814. Our nation was really young, and our army was overextended in the Northwest and at sea. The capital of our nation, Washington, D.C., was almost completely undefended. The British felt their best opportunity to attack on land to gain an advantage was to take the capital. They knew it was symbolically important, and it was also just off the coast, which made access really easy. The president, James Madison, knew that a capital attack was a possibility, so they had an emergency plan in place in case they needed to make a quick getaway. August 24th, 1814, British troops attack Washington, D.C., easily defeating a volunteer American Army force. James Madison and his family flee to Maryland as the British set fire to the White House and the Capitol buildings. This is still to this day the only foreign occupation of the Capitol in U.S. history. Wow. Many know that story. As the buildings began to burn, severe thunderstorm appears on the horizon. Uh-oh. This is where things get crazy. According to first-hand reports, hurricane-like wind and rain chased the British out of Washington, D.C. Roofs of houses were torn off. The British were forced to leave and retreat immediately, not even having been there a day. There are also reports of what appeared to be a tornado that tossed 2 British cannons into the air. All of this weather, completely unpredicted, put out all the British fires and forced them to retreat. Their occupation of the capital didn't even last a full 24 hours. This allowed the U.S. to return, see the damages, and focus their attention on the coast. The United States would eventually win the War of 1812 a few months later, thanks in part to this hurricane-tornado combo that was clearly anti-British. And not only that, but it didn't destroy the entire White House, and it was easy to rebuild. That is the end of story number 1. Bran, what are you thinking?
An amazing story. I love this. I'm curious now, Dan, many, many, many moons later and many technological advances later, have they gone back and taken a look at the reports from people and gotten an idea of maybe what to call this thing? Is it a superstorm? Would Dennis Quaid be going nuts right now?
This is tricky because what we have are diaries that describe the level of weather. That's what we have. And so figuring out what actually existed versus what we know that the British retreated when Washington was burning. It would be the perfect time to not retreat. And we also know of descriptions of hurricane and descriptions of tornadoes. which is a crazy combo to think about.
Crazy combo.
So that's where we are with that one.
Is it possible that in the diaries that some people just didn't, like how many people knew that tornadoes were tornadoes and hurricanes were hurricanes? Is it possible that there were some words mixed up there?
I mean, there's always a possibility when you're relying on diaries as your primary source, but I think people knew like a twister versus
Sure.
a giant storm.
Sure.
And you know, there's some pretty basic descriptor words that would separate those two.
Fair.
Good questions though, Brain.
That's what I'm here for. Aaron, do you have any questions or thoughts on this one that you would like to add?
Not at this time.
Wonderful. Brandon, any thoughts or questions?
I don't have any questions. It's just such like a crazy storm.
Yeah, you don't often see the old hurricane tornado combo.
It's very rare.
Especially over Washington D.C. after the British occupy. I mean, it's a calamity situation right there.
Yes, calamitous for sure. We ready for story number 2, Bran?
I'm ready.
All right, this story's called England Wins Again.
Oh, there he is.
You see, wins,
There he is.
W-I-N-D-S. You see what I did there?
That.
We're going to go all the way back to the 1500s for this, Brand. Don't fall asleep. We're
won't.
talking about the Anglo-Spanish War.
Yes.
This is a war between England and Spain that lasted for almost 20 years and was a series of battles over Catholicism, represented by Spain, and Protestantism, represented by England. While the war ended in kind of a tie, it's known as an official handoff of sorts of power. After this war, England is considered the world's major superpower for the majority of the next 300 years. It's also the end of the Tudor dynasty, Elizabeth I, the beginning of the Stuart dynasty. It's a lot of big deals in world history, and it's weird to think that all of this was made possible by unusual weather. Let me introduce you to the Spanish Navy. It's the most powerful navy in the world for much of early modern history. It's the oldest active naval force in the world still to this day. It accomplished numerous achievements, including the first voyage to America by Chris Columbus, the circumnavigation of the globe by Magellan, and many others. It's responsible for expansion of the Spanish Empire, and by the 1500s, Spain had a particular naval fleet called the Armada, or in Spanish, the Grande y Felicima Armada, which means great and most fortunate. Felicima can also mean very happy. Navy, that's what it means. This fleet of over 130 ships was thought to be unbeatable and controlled the high seas for Spain. The defeat of the Spanish Armada is a date most world historians remember forever in history. It occurs early in the Anglo-Spanish War, but it's not the end of it. The reason it's important is because no one thought the Armada could be defeated. They were considered an invincible force of the time, as legends were told throughout Europe, Asia, and even the New World. It's one of the most well-known moments in history, and it wouldn't have happened without some very fortunate climate conditions. In July of 1588, King Philip II of Spain sends the Armada to invade England. The Armada drops anchor in Calais, a port city in France, on the Strait of Dover, maybe 30 miles away from England. The Spanish army was to board the Armada, and then they were to sail across the strait and attack England. Queen Elizabeth I, however, chose to attack first, sending her navy across the strait. This was considered a really bold move. She sent in 8 fire ships, which are basically ships that are designed to burn and then explode on contact. Spain was caught off guard, but they still had such a huge advantage in numbers. It was laughable to think that this would make a difference. They cut their anchors, tried to leave the port of Calais, and upon doing so, a brutal storm with gale force winds kept them in the port of Calais. They were stuck in the port of Calais, causing several of their ships to catch fire from the fire ships Elizabeth I sent. Still, the Armada had every advantage as they got out of the port. But once they got out of the port, Bran, those gale force winds that kept them in the port shifted again, blowing the Armada into Northern Ireland, where many of their ships were shipwrecked. In a final attempt to attack the British with their remaining ships, they attempt to sail to England, and the winds change a third time. And the beaten, burned, broken Armada was forced to retreat to Spain, meaning England did very little of the actual defeating of the Armada to begin with. Queen Elizabeth I called the storm and the winds divine intervention, creating commemorative medals to give to her naval officers with the inscription, "God blew the wind and they were scattered." That is the end of story number 2. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I was pretty bored.
Yeah.
So I was thinking
Yeah.
about how my dad was in the Navy. Thank you for your service. And as any good boy, I wanted to be like my dad, but also put a little twist on it. So anytime someone would ask me, Brian, what do you want to be when you get older? I would say, I want to be.
Older, Brian, what do you want to be when you got older?
When you get older, I would say I want to be a Navy SEAL because I thought that was Navy folks that worked with SEALs. And
Cut to present day, you can't swim.
I can't swim, and also come to find out they don't deal with SEAls.
Yeah.
So I was pretty bummed.
That's good. That's a lot on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Other Brandon, do you have any thoughts on this Navy SEAL related or otherwise?
I just love a good, win defeats the most powerful Navy in the world. I mean, that's just a great story.
You love to see it.
Never underestimate the power of a good, northeasterly wind out of England.
A good trade wind that keeps
gale.
switching directions.
The gales will get you.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm glad that one Brandon enjoyed my story.
Aaron?
Aaron, what do you think?
So, my question, you said Queen Elizabeth made the decision?
Yes.
They let women make decisions back then. It's pretty exciting.
I know. That's very exciting. It's crazy.
There
how that
is a
works.
chance this story's a lie, though, Aaron. Keep that in mind. So don't get too excited.
Yeah, Aaron, you're right. They did. Queen Elizabeth I, an amazing ruler, and did make that decision. All right, we ready for story number 3?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Story number 3 is called All's Humid on the Western Front.
Okay.
Let
Not
me
your
take it-
best.
Okay, I'm doing the best I can over here. Okay. Yeah, wetter off dead, everybody. Get out of here.
You get it. Who want Ray? Let's go.
World War I. This is the war before World War II, if you can believe it, Bran. And this is a different kind of war because it really doesn't have a bad guy per se, but we have the Central Powers, which is Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, and we have the Allied powers, England, France, Russia, and later the U.S. and Italy. The entire war on the Western Front basically comes to a screeching halt when Germany meets France and England at the Marne River outside of Paris, leading to almost 4 years of trench warfare outside of Paris. Each side fights in these lived-in, long, man-sized moats that gave a natural barrier from enemy fire. Now, they still use modern technology in between and the large stretches of land in between the trenches, but the goal was to advance through any means necessary from your trench to your enemies and vice versa. And basically the Central and Allied powers fight over the same 7 miles of land in France for almost 4 years, advancing maybe,
That's crazy.
Yeah, dying.
It's like the longest game of Battleship ever.
But trench foot.
Yes.
So let me introduce you to the Second Battle of the Marne. This is a 3-day battle in July of 1918, 4 years into the war, considered the last major German offensive on the Western Front. After this attack fails, the Allied powers begin to advance into Germany, leading to a ceasefire later that year. How the Allies win? Well, the Americans had joined the Allies, which gave them a boost of over 1 million troops, but they still needed a bit of help from Mother Nature, including the malfunctioning of some early technology used for the first time in World War I. World War I is known for its technology use. Yeah. We had paratroopers jumping out of planes for the first time. We had machine guns, poisonous gases, and we have the armored tank. The armored tank is perfected by World War II, but it was used in World War I not as well. How do we know it wasn't as well? Let me tell you about July 16th, 1918. During the Second Battle of the Marne, the Germans planned a surprise attack to flank the Allied powers on the other side of their trench. So the far end of the trench, get the tanks in between the two trenches, and then at nightfall, use several hundred tanks in the roughly half a mile in between the two trenches to try to take the trench. According to Private William Anderson of the American Expeditionary Force in World War I, on the evening of the 16th, heavy clouds filled the sky, and while it wasn't raining, this is his quote, the humidity was so thick it felt as though you could drink the air. Everything was damp to the touch. This cloud cover created an initial problem for the line of German tanks, with 2 of them actually falling into their own trenches, setting off explosions that helped give the attack away to the Allied powers. As the tanks were approaching, they began to break down. The humidity had caused the electrical components in the tank to malfunction, causing a jam in the steering, The tanks were also misfiring and self-exploding. They became sitting ducks. After the initial confusion of the Allied powers as to what was going on, Anderson recalls that they thought they were receiving air support from Russia. The German offensive had been turned into the German self-sabotage, allowing the Allied powers an easy victory on the evening of the 16th. The cloud cover and humidity broke the stalemate in World War I, leading to an eventual victory of the Allied powers.
Wow.
That is the end of story number 3.
A lot of people don't think about humidity as being something that can really mess up a sneak attack.
But you listen, you come to
as
South
somebody-
Carolina,
I know.
you'll figure it out.
We're in Columbia. We know it well.
Yes.
I can buy this one. Aaron, do you have any questions or thoughts on this one?
Columbia girl, know a lot about humidity. Feels
Yeah.
legit to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brandon?
I don't know a lot about humidity, so this might be my weakest story to kind of look at here.
Interesting.
I believe that tanks would break down, but would tanks break down because of humidity?
All right, so here are those 3 stories again.
Okay.
During the War of 1812, British troops were stopped from attacking Washington, D.C. by both a hurricane and a tornado at the same time. Story number 2, in the Anglo-Spanish War, strong winds prevented Spanish ships from taking down the British vessels. And story number 3, during World War I, a German tank offensive was thwarted when the humid French countryside caused those tanks to break down. Aaron, let's start with you. Which story is my story?
All right, so woman for woman. We want numbers 2 to be the truth.
Yes.
So we're going to roll it out. We're
I
out
love it.
50-50.
I love it.
All right. I had shout out Deborah Whitmore for U.S. history.
Shout out.
And
Shout
she
out.
taught me the word 1812 is where we got our national anthem. She didn't say anything about this, like, British occupied thunderstorm. I'm going to say that's the lie.
Okay, you're going with that
Fair
one.
enough.
I love it. Great guess. Glad that you were able to get one more shout out in there.
Yeah.
Of course.
Shout
Me
out.
too.
Absolutely. All right, Brandon, which story is my story? Is it the War of 1812? Is it the Anglo-Spanish War? Or is it World War I?
So let's go through this. The War of 1812 was a crazy situation. I remember Washington, D.C. burning. Like that I remember. So I'm saying that's a real story. I don't think Dan made that one up.
Okay.
All right.
Story number 2, I mean, Spanish Armada, very powerful, but that amount of wind and that, fool me once, fool me twice. I don't think you can fool me 3 times.
Yeah.
A little bit nervous about that one. Number 3, yes, tanks break down, and France notoriously very humid in the summertime. So I'm thinking 1 and 3 are actual stories, and number 2 is a story that Dan made up.
All right.
All
I like
right.
it. Because I'm good at my job, I'm going to go with story number 3 as your story. I think that, first of all, a hurricane, a tornado would be such a rare thing to happen in general, but especially up in D.C., I think that would be big news, and that is why you brought it to us today. I can see, listen, wind's a sneaky mistress, and can I say that on the show?
Wind
Yeah.
is a sneaky mistress.
And so I think I can see it. You make changes for the way that wind is blowing 1 minute, and the next thing you know, here you go. I've switched it up. And so I'm going to go with the humidity. I think humidity is the most boring of the 3 types of weather. And so I'm going to go with the humidity as your story.
All right, here's what's on the line right now. We have a perfect game going.
Yes.
If Aaron gets it right, she'll have completed a perfect game and wins the fanny pack.
Amazing.
Same for Brandon.
Wow.
Brandon, if you get it right, that means both of our contestants are going home without a fanny pack today.
Spoiled.
So are you pulling for yourself here or not?
I kind of love the idea of 2 perfect games being spoiled. I think that's
Wow.
pretty fun, to be honest with you.
All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. The first story, a hurricane and tornado walk into a capital. That is a true story.
Oh,
No.
Aaron.
That is a true
shout-outs.
story. And when I say it's true, Aaron, remember we're relying on diaries here, but we don't have any Doppler, and so that's probably why your
diary.
teacher didn't. There was a tornado today.
It was nuts.
So that's why your teacher maybe didn't teach you that part of it. I don't blame your teacher, so shout out intact. But based upon the diary evidence we have, this is what happened. These are the things that occurred, which would lead us to believe a tornado and hurricane most likely existed together in Washington, D.C.
And, I mean, you won't believe who's dating who, according to those diaries.
No
It's
kidding.
so
It's
juicy.
crazy. So that's tough, Aaron. That's a tough break for a perfect game to be lost that way. That's tough. My second story, England wins again Also a true story.
Oh,
How about that?
Also a true story. You can go look this one up all the way down to Queen Elizabeth giving out the medals that
How
said
about that?
God blew the wind and they were scattered. She gave him a medal that said it on there. So Brandon, also a perfect game, also spoiled, and that means my best buddy in the world, Bran,
That's right.
you got one.
Listen, humidity finally has been kind to me today because it didn't exist. This is wonderful for me.
So it's wonderful for you.
It's also
but,
my favorite fanny pack.
But,
so
so
tough break.
you are going to pocket it. You're gonna pocket the
100%.
fanny
I didn't do
pack.
all this work to throw it in a fire.
So Brandon, Aaron, you guys have been two of our better contestants to not ever win the fanny pack. And I hate that for you.
I have a
but
feeling it's not the last time we'll be hearing from Aaron.
you think they're just going to call back in again?
I think that we'll have him. We'll be back next week.
Tournament of almost champions?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I love it. Brandon, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us this week on Who What When.
thanks for having us.
The clouds, they are aparting, which means we've come to the end of this weather edition of Who What When. Thanks again to our contestants, Brandon and Aaron. They played a nearly perfect game before the last round, got the both of them. That's tough. But they will always be the Who What When champions of our hearts.
Our producer is A.T. Shire. Our executive producer is Sean Birch, who we like to call the sunshine of our lives.
Aw.
This show's a production of South Carolina Public Radio and is made possible in part by listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina.
If you'd like a chance to be a contestant on Who What When, call or text us 803-470-6347 or send us an email to whowhatwhen@scpublicradio.org.
You can find out more about the show at our website, southcarolinapublicradio.org/whowhatwhen.
And you can subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, or you can ask your smart speaker to play Who What When.
I'm Daniel Thompson.
And I'm Brandon Gray. Join us again next week for more history, games, and trivia right here on Who What When.